And here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Online. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! To those of you who are new to the channel, Happy New Year. To those of you who've been on this channel for years, this is where it all started. This is where BWTM, or what was then known as Bayloric TV, first started the journey. All those years back, it's now 10 years that we have been on YouTube. We're now back to where we started, and it's great. Okay, so what we're going to talk about here is the fight between James Degale and Chris Eubank Jr. This fight was announced. It was probably one of the worst kept secrets in British boxing because a lot of people knew about this bout and it was upcoming. So it's good to know that this fight is actually happening. So I'm really happy to know that it is. Had lots of beef between one another, shot this person saying this about this person saying that person. Most famously, Eubank talking about sparring sessions with himself and Degale. And I think that's probably one of the roots of the problem. I haven't listened to the Degale interview. I will do at some point, but I did listen to parts of the press conference, and I want to take it from Joe Saunders. That's what Eubank detractors will say, that when he stepped up to world class, he's got beat. Well, he hasn't got smashed to pieces. He's always given a good account of himself. And now he reveals that he's only been training himself and only now he's got a trainer. So there's Eubank for you. Degale, a world-class amateur Olympic champion, done everything you could ask for as a pro. Olympic champion, British champion, European champion, world champion, regained the title. Considered at one point the best super middleweight in the world. So he's done it all. The other thing Degale hasn't done is actually been undisputed champion. We know also Degale has had his struggles along the years with injuries. And I've been a massive fan of James Degale, and I was the one who shouted at James Degale was the best super middleweight, number one super middleweight in the world for a long time. That he would go on to be the number one super middleweight in the world, and he did do that. And he had a run where he beat, including Andre Durrell in that run, to winning the title, to fighting Butte, to fighting Brandon Gonzalez, a dangerous opponent, everyone said at the time. So he's gone and fought the best that possibly can be fought. He was meant to fight Uzgetty. I never get the guy's name right, but basically, he was meant to fight the guy that now Caleb Plant is fighting. Caleb Plant is fighting this weekend. And, Caleb Plant's very inexperienced. He could have his hands full. Degale thought wisely of it to pull out of that fight, give up his title to fight a big fight with Chris Eubank Jr. There's more money here, and it makes sense. So before I go on any further, congratulations. Al Heyman is now in the UK. And of course, this comes under the PBC banner, Degale versus Eubank Jr. So the first card on the table, Eubank Jr. versus, I believe this is, I think it's pay-per-view. I think it's free to air, but it's a great fight on the platform. So I think boxing fans are going to love this. It's a real domestic matchup. But we still don't know how good Chris Eubank Jr. is. Chris Eubank Jr., for me, still remains a mystery. Yes, we've seen what he can do, but you always think, well, if you had a trainer and if he could listen to instructions, he could be a really good fighter. Degale, I think we've seen the best of James Degale, to be honest. He's seen better days. But I don't want to write James Degale off there because he's one of my favorite fighters. But recent performances, he hasn't looked great. And I said it before, and I know James dug me out about it online. He talked about, I said that, you know, I thought that Badou Jack took his soul. Well, James Degale hasn't looked impressive since the Badou Jack fight. He hasn't. He simply hasn't looked impressive. And fights against Truax, a guy that I saw Truax beating him, because I just thought Degale at the time had declined as a fighter. A lot of things I don't like about Degale are a lot of things I like about Degale. For example, he's tough and he's strong, takes a great shot, but then I think he takes too many punches. I think Degale is a good mover, but yet I also think that he lacks movement at times, sits on the ropes, says because of the injury. Now, because of that, I think that Degale has taken way too many punches at times. He said he was injured the leg. You could see, because when he is fully fit, you could see Degale could move and punch, and he's got some beautiful shots. And the uppercut he likes to throw, the straight left hand, when he puts punches together, it can be very impressive. But Degale fights in spurts. If you look at Degale's fights, he'll put 1, 2, 3 punches together, and then he'll go and move away. And then he gets into situations where he's trading with guys he doesn't necessarily need to be trading with. In this fight, I would suggest he's the bigger guy. Eubank isn't actually a natural super middleweight. Degale is a super middleweight that I'm not sure if he can make light heavy, but he's big enough. He's a big super middle. How does this fight, for me, how does this fight pan out? Now, press conferences, I like to see people's body language, and I like to hear what fighters have got to say. But judging by Degale's age, amount of fights he's had, he's not coming into the prime of his career. That's not a disrespectful thing. Degale's not coming to the prime of his career. But you could say that about Chris Eubank Jr. You could say Chris Eubank Jr. is coming to the prime of his career. He's younger. Degale is coming to the, I would say, the tail end of his career. That's being respectful. Now, when Degale came out and said, well, whoever loses this fight needs to retire, to me, Degale, those words should not be coming out of James Degale's mouth, because James Degale, frankly speaking, is on the cusp of retirement for me. I don't think there's many more fights in James Degale left. He is more likely to be the guy that will retire after the fight than Chris Eubank Jr. Eubank Jr. has been beaten and he's come back. Suffered humiliation with Saunders and come back. Suffered humiliation with Groves and come back. You saw things like, Groves get beaten in with one hand, one arm, and the stuff where his father said that he was going to be better than Floyd Mayweather Jr. Well, laughable now because people look at what Eubank's done as opposed to what his father was saying. Now, when people think about Eubank and Golovkin fight, people but that's another conversation altogether. But anyway, see, Eubank's come back from adversity in a different kind of way. He's come back from his pride being dented by the fight he had with Billy Joe Saunders, and he's definitely had his pride hurt by the Groves fight because he's done a lot of talking. But he's had time to reflect. And the warning signs for James Degale would be this. Degale talking about retirement. Not the sort of talk you want to be hearing from a guy who's seen better days. Not really, against a guy who's coming into his prime. Now, I don't know if Degale said the retirement thing, because I've heard the retirement thing said before by Billy Joe Saunders. When I asked Billy Joe Saunders about the retirement thing, the R word, he was like, no, I'm saying this because I'm that confident I'm going to beat Chris Eubank Jr. As a matter of fact, I'm that confident. But it's also extra motivation as well. I like this sort of pressure on myself. So some fighters use this to put pressure on themselves. Does Degale need to put an experienced world champion like James Degale? Now, when British Commonwealth and may have been European champion at the time, I think he had all the belts before he went on to become world champion. So he hadn't really fought at world class. Degale, on the other hand, has fought at world class and was Olympic champion. So there really is no excuses. So does he need to motivate himself to fight Chris Eubank Jr. if it's that much beef? So the word retirement can't be for to get up for a fight, or is that a closer look into where James Degale's mindset is now in 2019, where he's probably said, oh, you know what? This is my last year in boxing, and you know what? I'm going to give it my best shot, but you know what? I'm at that age where I've got enough money in the bank and I could retire. Was that a fraudulent slip by Mr. Degale? I don't know. Now, when you put the two guys together, boxing achievements, what have you done lately? Or what have you done? We look at Degale, again, Olympic champion, world champion. Then you look at Chris Eubank Jr., IBO super middleweight champion, not a British champion, not a Commonwealth champion, not even a European champion. If you put the two resumes together, Eubank Jr. shouldn't be in the ring with James Degale. If you're looking skill sets, if you're talking resumes. Degale, from an amateur, the two amateurs. Degale, decorated amateur career, Olympic gold medalist. Chris Eubank Jr. And has beaten some top super middleweights around. Eubank Jr. has been beaten by two world champions. Well, Saunders was on the verge of becoming a world champion, WBO, and George Groves, world champion. Now, Groves has beaten Degale, debatably, some people would say. And there was one talk at one point of Saunders moving up to fight Degale. I don't know what happened with that, the negotiations there. But anyway, when you look at the resumes of both guys, you really wouldn't put Eubank in there with Degale and think to yourself, wow. But then you've got to take into consideration Degale's age. And now Eubank's talking about this trainer he has. Now, I was listening to Chris Eubank Jr. carefully. And he has run up his gums in the previous, and he has to do that self fights. And I don't knock any fighter that runs up their mouth, because that's the way they promote the fights, to make people put bums in seats to watch them fight. So that's part of the game. But I was listening to him, I'm thinking to myself, he now understands he needs a trainer, and he's doing things he wouldn't normally do in training camp. He's got him on a schedule. Before, he says he fought with all these fights without a trainer. He said Ronnie Davis was too old to hold the pads. And he said that Chris Eubank Sr. wasn't consistent enough in his life, around him in his life, for him to be his trainer. Why was his dad in the ring that night when Billy Joe Saunders was fighting him? Question mark. Whose idea was it to start slow in the first 6? He says Ronnie Davis is just an overseer. An overseer, right. So he's got this trainer now who nobody knows about, but Eubank Jr. believes in him. Now this can work two ways. Here's the fours. Eubank is now fighting to a schedule. He's working up to a schedule. He's now working to a plan. He's working to a place of, this is what I need to do to prepare for a fight. Okay. He's going against a world-class operator in James Degale. Here's the 4. At least he's studying the opponent. At least he's fighting to a schedule or plan or some sort of game plan for the fight. That's the pros. Here are all the cons, and there's a lot of them. Eubank Jr. picked this trainer. He didn't think too much of Adam Booth, but he thought much of this trainer here? Is it because it's a trainer that he can control? Is it a trainer that will just do as he says? The trainer's living in Eubank's house. That, for me, is sort of like a conflict of interest. Your trainer is at your house. No. You should be putting your trainer up and having his own accommodation so he can have his own freedom to do what he wants to do. No, trainer's at your house. That can't be right. Yeah, it's convenient that your trainer's there, that you could knock on the door and the trainer's there. I understand that, but trainer should have his own place, and that's space for the trainer. But is Eubank controlling the training sessions? Who's making the decisions? Who's bringing the sparring? And who is this trainer? What level of training has he got? And how could Eubank pick out a good trainer? Well, why couldn't Eubank Jr. use Floyd Mayweather Sr.? He trains him all the time. Why doesn't he take him on to be his full-time trainer? In fact, why does he go and train Floyd Mayweather Sr. when he could be using this guy all the time? If he was so great, why didn't he do pads with him? It's all a bit of a head scratch. And I'm a bit confused as to why Eubank has picked this guy, this undercover guy that nobody knows about. I don't understand it. Yes, there's a maturity in Eubank's voice and what he's saying, but some things just don't match up. So, people have to tune in to see what he does. I mean, Eubank is only just down. He's half an hour down the road from me, and it would be nice to make a connection in 2019. Chris Jr. probably doesn't even remember me. He probably, maybe his father would remember me when I used to train and I used to box in Sussex. So maybe I should pay them a visit. They only live down the road from me, and find out what really this relationship is. Yeah. So what sort of relationship has he got with his trainer? And how good is his trainer? And how well can they pick out how the game plan is to fight James Degale? Look, Eubank Jr. doesn't win a boxing match with James Degale. Forget it. Doesn't happen. But he does have something there that Caleb Truax had, which is stubbornness and prepared to walk you down. James Degale fights in bursts, and he has a tendency to stand and trade. When he stands and trades, that's where Eubank's best possibilities are to win the fight. What Eubank Jr. has to do is make Degale fight for 3 minutes of every round. Degale has to take the center of the ring. If Degale's back is against the ropes against Chris Eubank Jr. in this fight, Degale is going to lose, and he could lose badly. Degale has got to keep center of the ring at all times. He cannot afford Chris Eubank Jr. to push him back against the ropes. If Chris Eubank Jr. is strong enough to push James Degale back against the ropes, he can outwork Degale because he's got much better work rate. Degale's going to have to keep a jab, a straight right jab in Eubank's face, not pouring, a strong right jab in Eubank's face all the time, and hit him with good, hard left hands. And he's going to have to be regular and consistent with that. Degale stops in this fight. If he stops any minute in this fight, Eubank's going to jump on him. Eubank will come charging out at Degale. And I don't know if Degale can keep him off for 12 rounds. So that's where Degale's super middleweight strength and his power is going to have to be key in this fight. Degale would have seen brawlers all day long. That would be nothing new for Degale. But the way he fought Caleb Truax doesn't make me feel that confident in how he deals with the engine of Chris Eubank Jr. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Degale goes about this operation. I just don't think what Degale's done in recent fights is enough to beat Chris Eubank Jr. today. I think he has to do more. And like I said before, if his back is against the ropes, basically what I mean by that is if Eubank's head is able to be on Degale's chest and allows Eubank to work, it's a very, very, very uncomfortable night for James Degale. And more to the point, he might be looking at the retirement. That's a retirement package right there for you. You're talking about retirement, And here's a man who potentially could retire you. You know, and all those hard nights you've had because taking unnecessary punches on the ropes, is that all catching up with James Degale? I hope that we get a great fight. I hope Degale brings his A game. I hope Degale can fight, because I saw him. He looked like he was slowing up against Caleb Truex away. He didn't look the same Degale that can move the way he used to move. So I hope Degale is fully fit, injury-free, and he's not a shadow of himself. If he's not a shadow of himself, and he's the James Degale of what I know, the best James Degale, he beats Chris Eubank Jr. and he beats him handily. If there's anything less than that, he's in for a hard night and he could be looking at a retirement package. So that's my initial thoughts on Eubank Jr. versus James Degale. A great fight in any case. Great to see these two guys together. And we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Is Eubank Jr. going to improve? Is he a better fighter now because he's got a trainer? Or is this all talk? We will have to wait and see. Who will Eubank Jr. bring in to for sparring? What differences will those sparring sessions and training sessions make? And how does Ronnie Davies feel being an overseer with his trainer there? Well, Ronnie Davies could do some of the training. Okay, he couldn't hold the pads, but get a guy and does pad work. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments. This is BWTM Online. Check out our news section. Check out our health and lifestyle section. Check out our music section. Check out our entertainment section. Check it all out on BWTM Online. www.bwtmonline. Check us out. We're out. Happy New Year.